ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our end of 2024 episode of Two Fat Guys Talking Flowers, where we're always going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly about flowers. I'm Fern here with Joelle on the ones and twos. Ryan in the house. Mike is in the house. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and Happy New Year! Happy New Year's, guys. How's everybody doing? Thank you for listening the entire year. Ryan, how many episodes have we gotten in?
Well, we do once a week, so 52. This will be our 52.
No, we missed a couple weeks, didn't we?
Maybe 1 week.
Maybe one, huh?
Maybe one.
That's impressive, man.
We're now entering almost our third year, coming up to almost our third year of the podcast.
Has it been 3 years already?
You want to hear something crazy? This year, in the beginning of this year, was our 100th episode celebration. Doesn't that feel like 2 years ago at this point?
Dude, I feel like that was so long ago.
It feels like a long time ago. But that was February of this year when we did that, when we filmed it and put it out.
God, I feel like that was so long ago.
Mimi's on vacation.
Mimi is on vacation, yes. Well-deserved vacation.
De-stressing, relaxing.
Christmas vacation.
Christmas. I hope all the fatties had a good Christmas. I know they were all good boys and girls, so I hope Santa brought them everything they needed.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they're not celebrating too hard on New Year's and they're listening to us.
So I have the stats right here. So our first episode was published November 23rd, 2021. So we're 3 years, older than 3 years.
Older than 3 years.
We did it in the pandemic.
Yes, that was a...
Were we wearing masks when we did it?
No, I think we were okay in here.
But we didn't have guests in the beginning, right? So it was
No, we had guests, like the third episode or something.
Yeah, I don't think we did masks.
No.
We were past that a little bit. 148 episodes have been published. So divide that by 3. That tells you how many we did per year.
Damn.
23,000 total downloads.
Damn.
Of our listens. However you want to call that.
23,000. So that's how it's categorized, right? Whether it's a download or you stream it and you listen to it.
I think they consider that the same thing based on the stats.
Yeah.
Nobody's downloading them.
Yeah, right?
So many people have told me in different places, different countries, different shows, different places that they listen to the podcast. Or maybe they listen to one or two. But if that's true, then your numbers suck. Your numbers ain't right.
23,000 is not a good number for you?
Not if you divide
So
it
hold
by
on.
148.
Yeah. Let's do that math, right? So 23.
Wouldn't it be like
what's the number?
2,000 per episode?
No.
23,000 what?
23,000 divided by 147. 148.
That's an average of 155 listeners per episode.
I think that's accurate.
I think that's pretty fucking good because I don't think everybody listens to every episode.
Right. Some episodes are better.
I don't think everyone listens to everyone too, but far too many people tell me that they listen to it or are fans of it. Maybe they listen to one or two, or maybe listen to the one that
their friend was
to
on.
them.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. That's what it is. Our top countries that listen to us are the U.S., Canada, Netherlands, Costa Rica, and Colombia.
Costa Rica.
Yeah, Costa Rica.
Not
That's-
Ecuador?
Not Ecuador?
Well, not in our top 5.
Huh.
They're
Costa
up-
Rica
they're
is
up there.
pretty interesting.
Well, we're
Most
being
of our
listened to
copycats are in Ecuador.
in 53 countries. We're being listened to.
53 countries.
Mm-hmm.
How many countries is there in total? Like 200?
What's the most random country that's listening?
Singapore?
How many countries in the world?
Wow.
I don't know anybody in Singapore, so...
So there's 195 countries. So we got 25%. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I'll tell you our top 123 cities have been registered as listening.
Miami?
Miami is apparently, interestingly enough, number 3%. Our top city, apparently 4% of the divide is Philadelphia. So it must be Rene Tucci.
Rene
Rene
Tucci,
Tucci.
Uncle Matt.
Uncle Matt, Dennis Kelly, some other, Bill Schaefer maybe.
Yeah, who
Got
else
some
is
other
out
people
there?
out there.
Of course, it's the guys from Penny's Plaza.
Miami, Florida, Charlotte, North Carolina, Homestead, Florida.
I wouldn't be
Jimmy the
surprised
Tulip.
if Miami,
That's
Florida
Jimmy
is
the
70th
Tulip,
Avenue.
right.
Jimmy the Tulip is absolutely on his
Indianapolis, Indiana. That's got to be Aaron, right?
That's Aaron. Aaron.
Tucson,
crew.
Arizona, Brisbane, Queensland, Reno, Nevada.
Does it have Miami, Florida 70th Avenue specifically?
Not specifically. It has Saskatchewan.
That's in Canada, right?
I just think of grown-ups.
Yeah. Hey, ladies.
Hey, what's up, ladies?
I'm from Saskatchewan.
Oh, you're from around these parts, eh? Yeah, I'm from
Most of the stuff though does
Saskatchewan.
come from the U.S. That is definitely the majority. But we are going to this episode. We're going to play some highlights of some of our favorite episodes and our favorite moments from this past year. Like I said, it's been a long year. There's been a lot of guests this year. We're not going to go through every single guest.
Shout out to
obviously.
Mimi. Big shout out to Mimi to really lining up a lot of good guests.
Yeah,
interesting
no, 100%.
people.
Look at
I
the
mean-
look at the list right there I just gave you. That's just some of them. We can run through.
That's just this year.
Go ahead, run through.
So
some.
this year, Jackie Lacey, Jay Schwenke, Flowers celebrity right there, Mr. Donald Yim, Valerie Cristomoso, Caroline Marshall Foster, Carmen.
You gotta say her name
Marquez.
right,
What is it?
Caroline. You gotta put a British accent on it.
Caroline.
You don't remember?
Caroline. I can't do British. I'm Cheerios, chaps. Would you like some tea and crumpets?
Marshall Foster.
Marshall Foster.
Carmen from Ball.
Carmen from Ball, Dr. Charlie Hall, Lori Novak, AIFD, Tracy Park, Marco Groot. I am Groot.
Can you say his company name?
Hilverda Devore.
That was a thing with his episode.
Yeah. Arnold Whitcamp, Angelique Witcher, love her. Lori Wilson, love her.
Her episode was the empathy episode.
Yes, it was.
Remember we brought
That was
her in
a
after
great
her
episode.
presentation.
Great episode. Sam Boyles.
Sam Bowles, we still got his eggplants back there from his episode. Vanessa from That Flower Feeling. Ahmed from United
Ahmed.
Selections. Great episode
Great
there.
episode. Ace Barry, my brother. Aaron Bruno, and the 100-year episode. I feel like the 100-year episode was 2 years ago.
At least 2 years ago.
I cannot believe
100%.
that was this year.
Yeah, no, I
You've
was
had
surprised.
some industry who's who
Who's
on the podcast.
who's
I'm working on a big one right now
Ooh.
for January.
Ooh. Any spoilers?
Oh,
Or not yet?
Spoiler?
You don't
No,
wanna-
we can't talk about
You don't
it.
want to
No.
manifest it by saying
No.
it out loud?
Nope.
Just say in 2020, our guest will be, and then the name, and it's going to happen.
It's going to happen, I'm pretty sure.
All right, great.
But I'm not going to put it out there yet.
All right, so let's get to some of.
It's a cliffhanger.
Ooh, yeah, no, exactly. I like leaving it up to that. So let's get to some of the. Sorry, here you go. Some of the highlights and clips from this year. One of the episodes we definitely agreed on was pretty good to go back and re-listen to is JD and David of
Oh,
Deliflor.
my brothers.
I think we probably got them in trouble re-listening to that episode.
Are those the ones with the?
They might have.
Yeah, those are them. That's
They
exactly
might have-
who they are.
I don't know if they're still married after listening to that episode.
You know, I think their wives understand. I fully believe that their wives understand. Those guys, they're interesting people.
But their episode was very interesting. Aside from all the fun, it was definitely a lot of stuff talking about developing new breeds, the molecular markers. Remember that?
I think that is so cool. That's one of the newest things that we learned out there. That was pretty awesome.
They discuss some of where they got their name inspiration from, which was pretty funny. I don't know if you remember.
This probably
yeah, I
blows this blows my mind. 196 ribbons from SAF
So far.
so far.
Yeah. That's
And
not
go.
including all the other awards and things they won that year, this past couple of years.
Those guys are on fire.
Yeah.
They're involved in everything, too. Like, they're not just taking, they're also giving,
Yeah.
which is really
They're involved
cool.
in all the, yeah, exactly. They're on
Yeah.
the boards and stuff.
Yeah.
One other note from that episode was every time they said the word Alma, Joelle would play the money sound. It's pretty funny.
That was a good episode. All right, so let's jump in. Let's listen to their clip. JD and David of Deliflor Americas. Episode number 102.
But they need
So
to
you're
understand that kind of
educating the
things.
supermarket
Yeah.
buyer
Yeah.
about the growing and breeding process.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Then
That's
that makes
awesome.
sense because if somebody just comes in and says, "Oh, I like that. I want it. Just give me 7 million of them."
Yeah, it's been and it was like that before, and so they said a new variety. They didn't even have a name. They were okay. We need this for the next Christmas. That's impossible. And now, as David told you, that we're working with molecular markers. We have the molecular markers to
Explain
see
that.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means.
So
I watched a lot of Star Trek, and I don't know what a molecular marker is.
Beam us in, JD.
You can create variety in two ways. The one way is doing the crosses and develop a variety only with the
with the physical characteristics, with the
genotypic.
the genotypics. No, that's the
phenotypic.
molecular markers, the phenotypics, with the color, with the shape, with the size, with the nice foliage. But you can do it also with more science, just with pest resistant, more sustainable variety, because you need to apply less chemicals. So we do both. And in the other way, with more science, with the molecular markers, you can do it faster, and you can cross the variety with a better vase life, or cross the variety
you can almost
need less chemicals.
put in. You can almost put in what you want. The characteristics.
We don't want that. We don't want that because that's transgenic. We just do what the bee does. So what we do is we cross our varieties just like if we were a bee. Just put some pollen in another one and get seedlings, and then test them for 5 years.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
That is
they
crazy.
go status by status. But now, if we got a nice variety, let's say Alma, and we have Alma,
Cha-ching.
and we know
Cha-ching.
exactly.
You got to put the cash register noise whenever he says Alma.
Exactly. So let's say we know this variety is perfect because it lasts 25 days in the vase, and there is a molecular marker that tells us that. So every time we see that molecular marker in the same position in another variety, we know it's going to last 20 days. And right now
wow.
It tags it, yeah.
Yeah, and right now we got molecular markers for fungi, for
No comprende.
pest, disease, and it's the DNA.
I'm totally geeking out on this.
Yeah,
like
I
that
know,
is
I know.
fucking
And-
cool.
And this is the only thing I know about DNA. So, so the DNA it goes from 4 letters that it shows with light on the microscope. And you see ACTG, and if you see like 5 letters that are the same on the same position, you already know that it's resistant to white rust or resistant to
Wow.
fungi. So that is
crazy.
And that saved us like 3 years of testing. So.
Let's talk about all the awards and accolades that you've gotten in the past couple years.
Yeah.
or
Can we
especially
list
this
them?
year.
From SAF, we got 196 ribbons.
Shit.
What?
Damn.
196.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, it's
Pardon my language. Fuck.
Oh, but who helps you with that?
Mimi is
Mimi.
always.
Yeah.
Mimi is
Yeah.
always.
You can't be saying that
Yeah.
shit.
Mimi is always
100.
there.
Well, I don't help
96.
them. I don't do anything. I'm never on the to pick the awards, but I like to prepare the. I love. To
How much
prepare.
money do they pay you?
Yeah, are you preparing
Nothing.
theirs better than
No.
ours?
I have tried.
I received-
She hasn't received anything.
I receive no money, right?
see
But
this
it's
guy's
very
got sound
important that we know that moving forward, if you do not book it, they cannot handle it. So I can't touch anything unless you do pay.
So
SAF.
she should be really proud because the Outstanding Varieties competition is. Every flower can compete there. So they bring this amazing roses, the big hydrangeas, the David Austin, the proteas, everything. So it's impossible that a chrysanthemum can win best in show. But then she arranged so beautiful one of our varieties. It's called Alma. Kaching.
You won a gold medal for Alma.
We got gold medal, but before we got best in show in Palm Springs in California, we got best in show with that variety. First chrysanthemum that we, and it was
what variety was that?
Alma, and it was a white daisy. A white daisy won best in show among another 265 varieties, different varieties. So
Wait,
we were very
how
proud of
many
that.
Alma did you sell? I remember that from the SAF award.
We
It's
5
our
years.
number one variety.
5 years ago, we sold 24,000. This year, we sold 90 million.
Damn.
90 million
90 million.
from
Holy
84,000.
shit.
For those of you can jump over to the Deliflor Americas Instagram and check out Alma. It's gorgeous. It is a beautiful white chrysanthemum. It's perfectly it's pure white. It's not even you don't see a single petal that's translucent.
And the green center is so beautiful. The variety is symmetric, very, 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 very beautiful. It's
it's the contrast between that green
Yeah.
and that. Yeah, look at how beautiful it is.
yeah. So my name is JD is Juan David. It's short for Juan David, and some people call me Juan Dalma.
Yeah. So that was a big award that you got at SAF.
Yeah, so the prize, they have been giving that prize for 20 years now, and so it's supposed to be 20 awards, but because it's so difficult to get, I think 4 or 5 of those years it's been deserved. So nobody got the prize.
Nobody was worthy enough.
Yeah, exactly.
with a white
Exactly.
daisy.
I didn't want to say it like that, but
And you put
it
out
sounded better when you
the
said it like
best white daisy
And
around.
what-
that. Yeah,
White
no,
daisy.
but it was because it was a success and commercially.
So is it like I guess it's like the marketer of the year award. You need to like show numbers
Absolutely.
and prove the success.
Yeah,
of
but the
it.
difference
Like,
with the marketer of the year is that I want to do marketer of the year this year.
This year, we are
so
working very hard for that.
Yeah, and,
Nine-
and-
90 million plants.
and we're
Shit.
based on you because of your prize 2 years ago.
Ryan's a judge now.
Really?
I was a judge last year. I don't know if I'll be again this year. They haven't let me know.
That's
Now
really cool.
we are thinking how to build a nice story of all the things.
Oh, he's gonna
we have
spoil
done.
it.
What-
Just cut it.
One of the
Spoil the story.
one of the
You
most
gotta be the marketeer of the year.
one of the most
this year.
impressive images of Alma was when the Botero funeral, the famous artist Botero, and guys, I'm going to show you guys this picture, is with all these Almas. Like, I mean, this is a huge representation. Like, Botero represents part of Colombian culture, and to have that Alma
I mean,
there,
that is an
it
executive.
really moved me. That's
an
beautiful.
executive
And you know-
looking funeral there.
and you
let
know
me
what?
tell you.
One of our best clients shipped all those flowers to the funeral. We didn't know
Wow.
that.
You didn't know?
No, they asked for white flowers, for the most beautiful white flower, and they ship
But then in
only Alma.
But in the newspaper they said the variety Alma. So
After you won that award, I called Esmeralda and changed all my white daisies to Alma.
awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Rodrigo loved it.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did.
Rodrigo loved it.
Look at how, yeah, it's just impressive. Like, they used, how many stems are there? Well,
What's great about that is it
Tons.
looks
I
like
don't
the
know.
anemone, which
Yes.
gives it that
Yeah.
really
Yes.
high end
Yeah.
look.
yes, it does get a good high-end
Pure
look.
white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, when that plane with the soccer team went down in Colombia, we gave away to Alma for the funeral. And so, I mean,
That's
we
really
feel
cool.
we feel a stadium with 70,000 people,
Wow.
and everybody have a stem.
And
in
it's
their hand.
beautiful because of the name. The name
Yeah.
Alma means,
I
like,
know.
you know,
Soul.
soul. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, just like my soul is white, pure white.
But with a black center.
Yeah.
The black center is called the pink pony.
moldy
Yeah.
stem.
And you also got like the best stand in Pro Flora. Right?
No, we
No,
didn't.
sustainability.
Sustainability.
I mean,
Sustainability.
sustainability. award.
Yeah.
Sustainability.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I thought you had the best stand with those lights and all that.
Me
the
too.
LED
Oh,
lights.
yeah, for
I thought
sure.
that was really
Yeah.
good.
We
Yeah.
talked the
What'd
same.
you do? Is that something you rented or you own that?
No,
No.
we rented. We
You
rented.
rented it. I really like that.
It was made out
We
of
rented.
45 screens.
Yeah,
oh,
it
it
was
was
great.
really beautiful. Yeah, it was,
It was
like a
really
dream.
nice.
Will you be at the Ecuador show this year?
Well, actually, Ecuador for us is really important, but it's not as big as Colombia. And we have another show in Colombia at that time, which is the Symposium of Floriculture in Medellin.
Yeah, normally we don't visit that show. We visit the clients before.
Yeah, yeah. But you're going like in,
I'm going.
in
I'm
a
going
month,
in 2 weeks.
in 2 weeks. So
I'm going
make
in
sure
2
you
weeks
go
to Ecuador.
visit them.
Sure.
There's no chrysanthemum grower anywhere near us.
It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He has a lot of free time.
Yeah. Well,
Look how cool Joel looks.
He's not traveling for work. He's just having fun, guys.
No, actually, when he goes to Ecuador, he goes to like 29 farms in one day.
That's like
Is there 29 farms growing chrysanthemums?
No,
It's called
only-
a farm marathon.
That's
so
not
like
true.
4.
Only 4 farms.
Yeah.
4 or 5 farms.
Yeah.
That's it. Small farms.
yeah.
But
But
Not-
increased a
Not
lot.
so small.
Yeah, they're not so
There's
small.
some big availabilities now on disbuds.
It's like 40 hectares total in chrysanthemums.
less,
Not
yeah.
even, yeah.
Compared to how many hectares being grown in Colombia of chrysanthemums?
Like a 1,000.
1,100.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a big difference.
I know.
That's huge.
Yeah.
It's
So, yeah.
huge.
But that's where most of the bouquet making goes on in Colombia.
Colombia.
It doesn't go on like that in Ecuador.
Yeah, but in Colombia, they only have chrysanthemums and roses and hydrangeas. So they have to bring some other flowers to.
So with the new
do
categories and new varieties, we're trying to increase the share of chrysanthemums in the bouquets.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys
That
also do these like exclusivities like the rose breeders are doing?
Not really.
No.
Not really. Not.
No?
Not really.
We're
Not yet.
looking into.
Not yet.
We're gonna see what's
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Exclusivities are bad. They're bad
I
for
know.
the small growers.
I know exactly.
Are you growing anything weird and crazy like the veggie and that kind of stuff? You're leaning into that?
You're gonna see that when you go to
That's
our
what's
show.
at the show.
It's,
Okay,
it's these
cool.
varieties that are called the Etruscos. That's like the Smurf house.
Yeah.
It looks like it,
Yeah.
and
It's a freak.
It's a freak.
I love
exactly.
freaks.
People are into that now.
yeah.
Yeah.
The more
Yeah, I
freaks,
know.
the better.
And you're gonna love them, but you're gonna help me how to pack
How
them
to pack it?
because it's weird.
I can help you.
Yeah,
there.
that's
Very
it.
cool.
I can
it.
help you. I like freaks.
Okay.
My dog's a freak.
No, I've seen your
He's
office.
got an office full of freaks. Don't
He gave-
worry,
he
we're
gave-
all freaks here.
They gave a real great analogy. They call their office like Spencer's Gifts. I think
Yes.
that's a
Yes.
perfect analogy.
What is Spencer's gift?
That's the store in the mall that sells like everything from like toys and T-shirts to like sex.
Oh, I
stuff
know the
and-
place. I used to have to take Connor there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I know.
Yeah,
the place.
You get everything.
They
there.
sell T-shirts in there.
Love those guys. Great clip. Thank you guys, man. That was that's another one that I feel that episode, so much has happened this year. I feel that episode was so far away.
Right. It feels like a long time ago recording.
It
that.
feels, man, God, everything going on. New building. God, everything is crazy. You guys know that this year coming up, you know what we got? Fresh Fast. Fresh Fast. Fresh Fast. I like it. All right. So what's our next episode?
Next episode with and we selected this one because it was actually one of the ones that had a higher listen count. This is Christina Yan of Bellevue Floral Co.
Christina. Love that. So in this episode, we had where she shared her growth on social media and all the opportunities it's given her. We also got into a little education on her knowledge on social media.
Mm-hmm.
Good clip.
Yeah, she's a really good social media florist out there in California doing some really cool stuff. We had the opportunity to work with her through Accent Decor and got her on the podcast after that. Yeah.
Love that. Love that. So let's jump into her clip. Let's share some knowledge. That was episode 113, navigating branding and business with floral educator Christina Yan.
I love that about your Instagram page. I love that when you're just teaching and kind of so transparent and open about how you've gotten to where you've been and to get the followers that you've gotten. I think you shared one where you showed, this is my most liked post. And then you showed the insights. And I was like, wow, like not a lot of people who have that many followers would be giving that information out. But I thought that was very unique. And like, it's really good because you're helping other people to see that eye that you have.
Yeah, totally. I am all about transparency, and especially in these last few years, now that I've kind of moved into this educational sector of business, I'm even, more so willing to share and empower younger and newer florists to kind of have a financial forward mindset. That's the most important thing to me, right? Because all of this is a business at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And I always remind my students as well that as florists, like we're in this to make not just a little money, you want to make good money and you want to have a business that's going to be sustainable. You don't want to have to grind and struggle and constantly worry if you're going to make it. So, sharing a lot of the analytics in my classes and on social media, I think just helps with that transparency. And it also, I think, just being open in general with my social media pages gives people a sense of comfort in feeling like they can talk to me like they're a friend. Mm-hmm. And if they come to my retreats, that what they see online is what they're going to see in person. So having that kind of connection on my page is important to me as a brand.
55,000 followers. I think I have 2,000 followers on my Instagram page. I am nowhere near consistent on my posting, maybe on my stories, but there's no rhyme or reason. I just post when I post.
I know that when I tag you on LinkedIn, we go up a lot. So,
right. Well, we just hit a milestone as a company. We just hit 30,000 followers organically.
Amazing.
Woohoo! Love that.
There you go. Good job, Joel.
Christina, tell us all all these followers, tell us if it's led to any opportunities. Being transparent on Instagram and putting yourself out there obviously has helped get you to these followers. But has there been any like opportunities that have come from Instagram or social media?
Yes. Oh, 100%. I'm pretty sure 95% of my clients come from Instagram or TikTok if it's not from a referral. That's where all my clients are finding me these days. And I've done a lot of content creation in the last couple of years now as well. All of that has been through social media and being able to build a strong and consistent following. And, you know, a big piece of it too is that it's not always about your follower count. Brands that are looking to hire me and even clients that are looking at my content are really trying to figure out how high your engagement levels are relative to your follower count. So, you know, in that same vein, a brand who wants to hire me to do a custom video, for example, for their makeup product. I have one of those videos I'm going to film later on today. They might see a florist that has 300,000 followers, but if they look at their engagement on the individual posts and see that it's not consistent or it's very low engagement, they will, they'd much rather hire someone who has 55,000 followers, but is getting, 1,000 likes on an average reel, for example.
Right.
Yeah, the reach is
so it's
better.
all about, what's relative.
The averages.
Yeah, exactly. And, you mentioned Full Bloom earlier. That was an opportunity that a lot of people might not know came to me through social media.
Yeah.
And this was back, I think I had maybe 2,000 followers. Back at that time, but it's a great story to share. And I tell this at my retreats often too, because it's a reminder that while it's great to have a lot of followers, at the end of the day, it's about how strong your story is on your page, right? Because you go back to, however many years ago this was, I had 2,000 followers. I think it was 2019. I got a DM from a talent scout on Bellevue's page. And I thought it was a scam at first. I didn't really think it was real because I had heard about this Full Bloom show. There was all this buzz on the florist networks and the florist Facebook groups that were really active back then, And I had thought to myself, I was like, gosh, it'd be so fun to watch that show. I can't wait to see what it's about. Next thing you know, I get a DM and they say, hey, Christina, we found you on Instagram. We would love it if we could interview you for Full Bloom. We really like your story. And back then, I was also really consistent with my posting. It didn't matter that I only had 2,000 followers. They were still my little community that I wanted to be able to share my life with. So I was posting every couple of days at least. Back then, there were no reels, so it was just photos. But I shared quite a bit about my life behind the scenes. And my mom was and still is a huge part of my business. So I was constantly sharing photos of my mom and I and talking about weddings we were going to. I was a very small scale business at that time, but it was because of that storytelling and that branding. And because they saw my face so consistently on my feed, that was attractive to these producers. And yeah, long story short, I get a DM one day, and then within 2 weeks, I'm down in LA doing final interviews with their production team. And I end up on this television show. So yeah, it's just, you never know who's watching. You never know who might come across your story and be intrigued by it. And, that could lead to so many other opportunities down the road. I will say, I ended up being on that show quite briefly. And on that show, they didn't actually share your business name or tell anyone about where you were from. So I was like, I don't know if people will ever even find me on social media. So I think a lot of my growth since then has just been putting in the work to continue to build a strong foundation as a brand. And then there are a lot of tips and tricks within social media too that I've kind of figured out organically. You just have to really understand your following. You have to figure out what they want from you as a brand, and also how you're trying to market yourself. Obviously, because I do education now, a lot of my videos are educational content. You actually don't see a lot of the bread and butter of my business, all the weddings that I do, many of which are a bit more traditional and your usual white and blush weddings. I'm not filling my feed with that kind of content. because I'm not trying to necessarily reach those clients through my social media all the time. I kind of split it up. Some of it's wedding content, some of it's educational content, and some of it now is brand content for businesses like Target and Starbucks and other big names that are hiring me to do custom videos for them.
I saw those Starbucks videos. Those were cool.
Mm-hmm.
Matching the flowers to the drinks and stuff like that.
I was looking.
Yeah, that's a super fun niche to get into.
I was looking on your Instagram and I kept stopping at Tulip's pictures. Tuli, her dog.
Tuli the dog.
Miss Tuli, yeah. Yeah, she is my greatest marketing tool.
It works. The dogs work, man. That's real. We see it too on our numbers. You put Sid in a video, just in the background, just running around. People notice that.
Who doesn't? Yeah, no,
she's a huge part of my life, and I think she is a part of my identity truly as a dog mom, and people really resonate with that, especially in my stories. I'm constantly posting about just the chaos and hardship of being a husky mom. Oh, yeah. You all might relate with Jet in your shop.
Yeah,
Jet speaks to us. He sometimes yells at us if we don't give him a treat or take him outside fast enough. It's amazing
hilarious.
How he communicates. I love it.
He's got two different
huskies,
color eyes.
My dog's not even. Yeah, they're so stubborn, and it's like they drive you crazy, but they're so lovable.
Yeah,
all at the same time.
Yes, they are.
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit. How did you get into education? I know you're doing Miss and Floor right now, but tell us a little bit what
Miss en Floor.
Miss en Floor. Yes. I'm sorry, Miss en Floor. What brought you in to education?
Yeah. So I have always loved sharing. I think that it's always been very natural for me to be able to teach others. And I taught my first workshop early on, kind of just for fun, for friends in the local community, and really enjoyed that. And way back when I was first starting out, so I'm a self-taught florist, right? So back in the day, 2016, Reels didn't exist. People were still just posting really filtered photos on Instagram, if you remember,
the good old
back
days.
In that time. So and there weren't that many workshops out there really. And really they were, they were so far and few in between. So I would scour the internet. I used to go on YouTube. I would just watch like old 80s and 90s videos about making boutonnieres and corsages. And I would try to kind of adapt those techniques and apply it in other ways in floristry. And so I learned to design kind of just by trying to copy photos I would find on the internet or copy videos online. So over time, I came to realize, like, gosh, I could provide so much of a resource to students out there to be able to teach them how I learned over time. And so I had this vision in my mind that I would love to do a little workshop. I'd already moved up to Napa, so I was in, a really beautiful setting. And I wanted there to be more to it as well than just hands-on learning with vase design, for example. So I thought, why don't I develop a business 101 course? It teaches students from A to Z how I started my business, teaches about all the different revenue streams you can have within floristry, and really can be a foundation that they use to then figure out which path they take. And so I developed this course. I did a PowerPoint presentation and I've fine-tuned it over the years. I decided I wanted to have a business element. I wanted to teach a little bit about marketing and social media. And I also wanted this element of community building, which is so important in our industry, to have floral friends, right, to lean into and to look to advice for. So I knew I wanted to have this retreat, and it was just this little vision in my head. And for me, I guess I'm kind of just someone who's quite ambitious. And if I have an idea pop into my mind, I'm going to pursue it one way or another. So yeah, I set out to find a venue and sought out some sponsors. That was, really wonderful to have Accent Decor, who I know is a great partner for you all as well, to come on board with our very first retreat. They were all in to support how they could and to provide vases and vessels and marketing support as well. And the minute it dropped on social media, everyone, was just so excited about it. We had 30 something students the first year come out to that Mise en Fleur. It was a 3-day event. And I also leaned in to bring in some of my florist friends who were well known in the industry to kind of support, of course, and help to pull off the event, but also to garner some more interest and buzz around it.
Yeah, that helps make it more exciting for the people coming in. It helps, drive the buzz.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we had Ace, Connor, and Kristen come out that year, and it was so fun for us, as it was really just a little reunion and almost like a retreat for ourselves as well, to be together that whole week prepping for it.
But those are also 3 really fun people to hang out with.
Ace is like my brother from another mother. We speak the same language.
They're clones. They're too similar. It's weird. Like it's just like a slight darker skin tone. But
it was kind of like in the movie.
So
it was kind of like in the movie Step Brothers.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where did we just become best friends?
Yeah, it was made in a lab or something.
That's hilarious. Yeah, Ace and I are going to swap this year. Actually, he's flying out to help me with a big wedding, and then I'm going to fly out and help him with another one later this year. So we're super pumped about that. And he just brings in all the best energy. I love him.
Yeah.
Guys, you need to re-listen to this episode. Great job, Christina. Man, I need to re-listen to that episode. Mm-hmm. She's got a ton of gems on social media that can help everybody, so we can all stay ahead there. Check it out. Oh, man, I forgot about this episode.
Yeah, the next episode that is on this list, it has to be on this list. This is the Brothers episode with all the Armellinis, the family.
Most talked about episode outside of the Black Brothers, right? We've been talking about that episode. That, man, it'd be cool to have these guys on one day, and we actually got them all in, man. So All in the Family with Stephen, David, Willie, Richard, and Judy Armellini.
In 25, we're gonna get the Duchamp brothers.
Yeah.
On. Yeah.
Get them
all of them?
Yeah, all of them.
Because even
all 4 of them.
I was going to say, because even the ones that aren't in it, you're going to get them too?
Yeah. Okay. They've been in it.
Yeah,
they've been in it. Yeah, why not?
That's for sure.
I'm calling you guys out.
Manifest in it.
Manifest. Put it out to the universe.
I know you're listening.
Like
Do they have on the list Palm City, Florida as one of the places they listen? Because I think they're listening.
I'm sure it's one of the cities.
Okay.
But man, that episode had a lot.
It was a longer episode, but because we had a lot of people.
Was that our longest episode of the year?
No. Of the year?
Of the year, probably.
It's up there.
It's up there.
It's up there.
There's something.
The JD episode was a little long.
Who is the longest? Who owns the title? Is it Bill Schaefer or is it Alejandro?
It could be Howard Levine.
Well, in the beginning,
Howard was
true story.
Cut off.
True story.
100% true story.
I cut probably like 50% of Howard's episode.
Yeah, but I think in the beginning we went long.
We averaged in the
all
beginning
the time,
probably like an hour
and then Ryan started to figure out that people were getting bored. It was too long.
I mean, there's a timer in here, but you guys just ignore it.
What's episode 142?
I think
Frank Biddle's episode.
Frank Biddle was an hour 46.
Who's on our list actually of he's last on our list of a recap episode. Our average is like 120.
Guy put the fax machine, the fax machine line or the telephone line in.
That's exactly the clip we're gonna play.
Yeah,
all right, so we got a lot.
There's no way you're
into.
taking my driver license.
But yeah, that was a great episode. There was a lot going on. They talked about the beginning, how their family basically started the importing side from South America, how the Florida growers almost like boycotted them at the beginning because they didn't want them bringing in South American stuff.
Oh, they were pioneers.
Growers.
The California growers didn't want them bringing the South American stuff. They were pioneers. These guys, these guys really helped set up what is the industry today. They might never get the credit for it, but they really did. I love the part where they had all the kids, where the kids were like, my friends didn't want to sleep over because we were working. We were unloading trucks in the morning. So let's jump in. Episode 117. All in the Family with Stephen, David, Willie, Richard, and Judy Armellini. Okay, so Dad started hauling flowers from Florida.
1945. Started in Jersey, and then eventually in the late 40s started hauling out of Florida.
In the 40s?
In the 40s. Oh, wow. So when did the family move down?
52,
well,
53.
it had to be
52.
50s, really.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
early.
Started
50s.
in 45. I think it came down about probably in 52.
52
that Uncle Willie
so
moved down.
There wasn't really Thermo Kings and shit at that
no,
time.
there was actually
a putt-putt.
I actually just told this story the other day.
2 engines, 2 like little
lawnmower engines.
And you had what was called a bunker in the front of the truck, and you filled that with ice, and the blew fan over the ice, and that's how you cooled the truck down.
So every 50 miles, you had to throw more ice in or something?
You could get up and back to New York.
You could make it to New York with ice.
Wow.
From Vineland.
And Dad's trick was everybody used one putt-putt motor. He had two
putt-putt motors.
So he could move.
That was the secret.
Twice as
That's
fast.
right.
Well, it was all about air circulation. He knew that if he had two motors, first of all, if one broke, he had this backup, and secondly, it moves more air across the chute, and therefore kept the flowers colder.
It's the second thing he did. After that, when Thermo King did come out, and we started buying those things, the unit would turn down once it reached temperature, just like your house. It would, slow down. He made it where the thing kept going at full speed. Hence the circulation, keeping
the
it, which was
shut down.
It never stops going full speed. The fan, now the refrigeration would cut down to keep it at 32, and again,
the fan was always on.
I love when I tell people this, that 6 months of the year I basically put heat in the truck.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks it's refrigeration, but when it's 12 degrees, you better hope I'm putting heat. And when you tell people that, you look at their eyes and going, "You did what? What do you
say?
It balances out.
What you talk about, Willis?
Yeah. No, it's true.
It is very funny when you tell people that.
So, like, he invented his own Thermo King, basically.
Pretty much.
Well, he worked with the company very closely and helped them engineer it for his purpose.
Yeah, with Thermo King.
Without getting
with Thermo King.
With Thermo King.
Oh, yeah.
So he was ground floor with Thermo King.
Thermo King, big time.
So every time Thermo King came up with a new model after that, your dad would be the test dummy? He said, try
a lot
this.
of times, yeah.
Well, you got to go to Dad, tested everything. Dad was a PM.
Preventative maintenance.
Preventative maintenance. If it broke, your alternator broke at 3,000 miles, at 2,800 he would change it.
I heard from no matter what, he would walk the shop every single day.
Every day.
Until he couldn't walk anymore. Yes.
Until he couldn't walk anymore. Yeah. That was his thing. It was all about the shop.
Shop and drivers. Drivers were number one, which everybody else in the company used to get mad because drivers got 4 and 5 weeks vacation. Everybody else only got 2 and 3. But as he would say, you could load it, you can build it, you can do everything. But if the driver don't drive it, nobody gets paid.
Yep.
Very
and
true.
the driver doesn't get to go home every day either.
And the decking, what he did with decking, there ain't no decking anymore, but we used to have these things, big boards that we would put 50 inches, put a board across, and then put another. That's why the boxes are not so good out of Columbia.
So they weren't always palletized on the truck. They were floor
It's
loaded.
been the last 5
box per box.
5 years.
7 years.
Yeah.
Jam it up from head to toe.
750 full boxes filled the truck in the beginning when they were all 4120 by 7s, which is now referred as the FD.
No one wants to carry a box of those anymore. You can't pay a guy enough.
But they had like these hinges in the truck where the boards would lay on top of these hinges.
Right.
And then as they unloaded the truck, they would remove the boards. And then underneath the trailer, they had like the storage spot.
The board box.
To put the boards.
And trust me,
I
we
remember
built a lot of picnic tables. Because those boards were
They were 2 by 10s.
They were a pain in the ass. They were perfect boards, and the drivers would leave them at wholesalers or wherever. And so, there was a lot of picnic.
A lot of
tables
workers'
board.
comp with those boards, too.
And it was a bad idea. Well, it was a good idea,
great idea.
but it ran its time.
Right.
So
It wasn't good for the insurance agent.
And the only reason we stopped is because the competitors stopped doing it, and
Right.
everybody was loading by pallets. And because again, I don't get the same volume on a pallet load that I
Correct.
get hand stacking.
Sure.
Load. And today it's, like I said, 750 pieces a day. Now I think we average 1,800, 1,700 pieces.
We lost 20%.
Still the same cube. The truck's still the same. Well, it used to be our first truck, I think, for 45 foot, 42 foot. And then it went to 45s, and then went to 48s, and 50, and then 53. Don't see much going past 53 foot.
What about the ones when they have the 2 short trucks connected?
you can
Are
only do
those
that on the
longer?
turnpike. You can only do it on the turnpike. It didn't work. Didn't work well for us.
Tandems.
When my kids were little, we would drive to Disney from New York, and we played a game called Count the Armellini Trucks all the way down. It would say, how many can you count?
Armellini and the Armellini get-togethers.
Get-togethers.
Yeah, I counted up. I think we were at like 7 different marriages at that.
Well,
I don't want to count
We don't
divorces.
count
divorces.
We just count the marriages.
Well, that's when Continental first come up with the standing orders and probably had 10 of the hottest ladies at probably the first one or
That's
the second.
that's where Tina was
Yeah,
working.
that's where Tina lost her stuff.
Tina tells stories.
Do you know that story?
Tina's got stories.
She's got a closet full of secrets.
And it was a great idea on their part. They put them on the map. I mean,
Well,
it was standing orders, and you had a beautiful woman saying, give me a standing order, and I'll
stand.
And I'll let you buy me a drink.
Yeah.
So the concept way back when was my dad started that, and we did it for 27 years, I think, and Mom. But it was because the wholesalers didn't know the growers, didn't know the Miami importers.
Didn't speak
because
English back then either.
So we had a gathering. We held it on it would be Friday night, and all day Saturday and Saturday night, and then they were done Sunday. And it became so popular that what we had to do was, if a certain shipper, like Gelco at the time, well, okay, you ship X amount, so you're allowed 4 invitations,
Right?
And Sunburst at the time was allowed 10 invitations,
But they only used 2.
Yeah,
they only used 2. Agriflora was the biggest violator,
But we ended up
if
getting in
you
more
will.
trouble. Mom ended up getting in more trouble because you were now cutting people off.
Right, you had to
And
stand
it was
there
a thing to
and-
be there, so it was a problem.
People were sneaking in.
They would show up, and you'd say, "You can't come in." Well, what do? I'm here. Well, you can't come in, and that was an awkward situation.
because we didn't want so many Miami importers when you only had so many wholesalers, and it was always about 500 people.
Who was the bodyguard?
All of us, whoever was standing there at the time, that had to be difficult and say, "You can't come in."
There was a lot of people, either 1 or 2 that I went to. There was a lot.
I think the
of
most
people.
was 750 people we had.
Yeah.
No, it became a big
Nothing was
convention.
big enough.
It was
There was
a lot of work.
750 people.
It was a lot of work.
Does anything
Wow.
in today's day compare at all?
No.
Worcester doesn't.
Well,
Worcester's
this was
500.
very intimate.
This
in
was
that
a
there was a
drinking fest that my dad had a meeting
It's
for
when
2
we were
hours.
going to raise our rates every year. You had the party.
Right.
My dad got up there and stood up there and said, okay.
Waited till everybody
But he
was
had reason.
trashed.
I mean, it was the new
Genius.
trucks. It was the decking. It was the refrigeration. It was, he always had a reason why we were, but basically that was part of the, but we got to throw Pearson in because, again, the Pearson growers, who were very big at the time and had a lot of me or him. And the Pearson people didn't know anybody and didn't want to come to Miami. They hated Miami with a passion. They basically still do. And we used to have a separate party just for Pearson. So you had the Miami party, and then the Pearson people got upset. So then we went
And
to
you had the
Daytona,
Pearson party.
and we had a Pearson party for all the Pearson people.
How did that compare? Was that
I
No,
think the most we had there was maybe 100 or 150 something.
It was the big night out for them.
okay?
Oh, a big night.
It was
For
the
them,
big night out.
yeah,
It was like the
special.
year thing, the Armellini party.
And the golf was a big deal there, too.
The
Well,
golf was always a
golf.
big deal.
Have you
Golf was always-
considered bringing it back?
No, it was too much work. It did its job. Okay, so when we started it, it was just originally it was just a bunch of my dad and a couple of guys at a bar at a restaurant, and then it sort of grew from that, and we invited wholesalers. And for Miami, it was the perfect situation because here Miami started. They didn't know any of these wholesalers. Wholesalers didn't know any of them. These are all new companies, so it was just perfect. So we just and started inviting Miami wholesale importers. But
It was a 35-year run.
They came in droves. It was a lot of work. I mean, we did all the flowers. It was, and it did its job. The idea was to make sure that wholesalers met importers or growers, and because they used the truck. Right?
Could you tell us a story from one of the nights without getting anybody canceled?
So here's a
No.
little here's a little here's a little
want the
funny
honest
story. My sister Judy's.
I don't hear
Her,
you.
so the funny story would be that my sister Judy, her oldest son Carrie was in college, and he came down for one of these conventions.
Wait a minute.
And-
You left out that he was the starting quarterback.
Yes, good-looking
At
kid,
Fordham.
20 years old. So he came down, and he's going around, and there's all these gorgeous women all around. And he had a tag that said, Carrie Ducharme, Armellini, whatever. And he said, but nobody's talking to me. So one of our managers took him in the back room and made a new sign and said, KD Wholesale, New York, New York. And then we never saw him the rest of the night. Because I literally had girls come up to me, go, who is this KD Wholesale? I said, what do you mean, who's KD? That's my biggest wholesaler in New York.
There you go.
They're not selling that?
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Yeah, most of the stories probably should stay there, but
So
they should stay in the hot tub where they ended. Right?
That makes sense. That sounds.
Did
about
any
right.
of you guys see the Tina episode at the pool? Were any of you guys there that time?
The Tina
He
episode.
said to keep it clean.
Tina shared her story about an Armellini convention or Armellini
Where she was in the pool
And
and
she
she had
accidentally
a
lost-
wardrobe malfunction.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah.
I don't know that
She got a
story.
lot of standing orders that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it was. I mean, it did come down to that after years. Again, I think we did 30. I think it was 30 years we did it.
For
Still
30
nothing.
years. Wow.
For 30 years, we put on the convention.
It was a.
And what changed? Why did this?
It did its
just
job.
outgrew itself.
It
got
outgrew
too big.
itself. It got
It
too
just-
big.
So it became such a problem that we were getting in more trouble
Yeah.
than we were gaining
Getting
as benefit.
value for.
Because every shipper was mad at us because they wanted to bring 30 people because we had all the big wholesalers there and
They
everybody
wanted their wholesale staff there. They didn't want part of it.
And I'll go back to where, excuse me, that's why I always thought the Miami convention, WUFSA, should have been in Miami because where did everybody else want to go? Everybody wanted to come to Miami.
Miami.
See the place, see the facilities. And I've always said, go, don't let them tell you. Go to their cooler, see their boxes, make sure they got it. Because back then, nobody had, buildings weren't it. Everybody was doing through brokers. When JA started, then you had to get a building to become a real player. But it was totally different.
So actually, that episode is fun because if you listen to the full episode, you get the recap of the Armellini parties. You can hear more about those glory days.
Those Armellini parties. I'm sad I missed those. I went to my first WUFSA right when they had the last Armellini party. No fun. I missed all the fun stuff. Oh man. So who's next?
Maybe
What's our
that's
next
what the
clip?
industry needs.
An Armellini party?
To bring it back.
They should bring it back.
Maybe it's what they need to bring it back. It's because no one's doing that in trucking.
No, definitely not in trucking.
You know, and they do a lot more than trucking. A lot more.
I'm here for it.
They have customers that are probably not even on their trucks doing other things with them.
Air freight.
It would be well
importation.
attended. I think if they brought it back, it'd be well attended.
100%.
I know Tino will go for sure.
Flashbacks.
It's not if they used to do those in Palm City, right?
No, they did them in Disney. They did them in different places. Orlando.
Fresh Fest
Bring
Disney
them
would be
back.
cool.
Suggestion, Armellinis. Bring them back.
And there was like
Fresh
a
Fest.
major golf tournament. There was a lot of stuff going on there.
Oh, next clip is interesting. The flower pistol. Love that.
I like that we named the episode after her quote, expanding the floral alphabet, the flower alphabet. I like
that was
quote.
a bar.
Yeah.
That was a bar.
Yeah.
She
She
hit
did a
hard.
really good job with
She
that.
hit hard. But she had a ton of knowledge and just where she started, where she came, what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the fresh tips with Mimi. Sorkits.
No, but that the clip that we're gonna play is one we all liked. Was when she told her story about how she was struggling, couldn't get her food from Taco Bell, and 2 days
Taco Bell
later,
and Dr. Pepper.
Katy Perry finds her on Instagram, and then
Isn't
the rest
that
is
wild?
history.
Isn't that wild?
I mean,
that's all it takes is one moment, one chance. Like Eminem over there.
and she was probably at her wit's end, like right there at the bottom.
She was like, probably
couldn't
I
even
should
get Taco
quit.
Bell.
I should quit. This is not working.
Well, she was going back to a career. She was going back to private equity, and then she said, Katy Perry said no.
Yeah.
This is another episode. If you didn't listen to, or if you don't remember, it's worth listening to again. Episode 122, Expanding the Flower Alphabet with Flower Pistol. Let's jump in.
So anyway, yeah, I have always loved art. I just never thought that it was a viable career option. And so I actually, in college, I had this moment where I was like, I'm going to be an artist. And I got into the fine art program, and then I took classes for a year. 3 semesters before I quit because I didn't like them telling me how to do my work. I was like, you don't know what I'm trying to do, so stop telling me what to do. Like, I was like, I understand that, like, you're trying to coach me on technique, but don't, it didn't work for me. I'm pretty determined. And I was like, fuck this, I'm out. So I then changed to psychology and I was like, cool, I'll go into business. I'll be like an IO psychologist, which is an industrial organizational psychologist. I'm like huge on efficiency. And so, I graduated. I went into consulting. I got a job right out of college in Boston with a big consulting, a sister of McKinsey, and aligned myself with, their new business efforts, did, a lot of worked really hard, and then actually was invited to leave with a senior partner to start another consulting firm. And at that point, I had decided I was going to move out to LA. So I worked remotely and did that. And then one day I just had this, oh man, I feel like sharing this conversation because it is such a pertinent moment, not only for me, but I think for other people, is like, what would you do? So my boss is my old boss, very cool. We're still friends, like family to me. He would always ask, he was huge on questions. He's like, what would you do if you never had to work another day in your life? And like, there's that standard answer of like, I would start a charity and travel the world. And like everyone does that, right? And it's like, that would be really fun too, of course, right? Let's give back. But I was thinking about it for some reason while I was running one day. And I was like, I would be a florist. And it just felt right. I like stopped running and I was like, because I just love flowers and the color, and then like the business side of me that I had like sort of inherited from like my life at that point. It just felt like the perfect marriage of like what was next. And I realized I didn't want to be my boss. Like my boss was awesome.
I'm sorry, but I can't stop thinking of like when you said stop running. I felt like the Forrest Gump theme, like the Forrest Gump, and she's like running. And she's like, I want to be a florist.
That's exactly. It was literally like what I can go home. I stopped.
That's awesome.
And I kind of knew it's kind of like when you get bit by a certain, like it's an itch and you gotta scratch it. And I was in my YOLO phase, right? I was like, I don't live once, I gotta go. I gotta do this. Like it's my life. So I left.
Do you remember what year that was?
20 something, 2016, 17. I'm the worst person with like time. My whole life.
We have like Joelle.
My whole life is a run-on sentence. So I did that, and then I went to Africa, and I went on a safari
alone for fun, just on a whim.
Kilimanjaro.
You climbed Kilimanjaro
with my neighbors.
Cool.
I did Kilimanjaro. Cool. Yeah. It's kind of a long hike.
Impressive.
Honestly.
Yeah, but still,
I'm a very intense person. Like, I love pushing myself to limits that are like outrageous, like physically, emotionally, mentally. Like, yeah.
You picked the right industry for that.
Just go work it out. Go sweat it out. Like, go run yourself to the ground, and you'll reduce yourself to find the answer. Like, mostly, that's kind of how I operate. But I'm an emotional person. I think a lot of creative people are. Like, I'm a very sensitive, emotional person. And like, it's really been amazing to move into art and like channel that towards like my work. And instead of being like, oh, I work in consulting all day, let me remodel my kitchen throughout the night. Like, I don't know.
That's so true.
So now I come home and I'm like, well, I'm good. I'm like, I don't need to do anything. I would like sit in my driveway, hang out with my neighbors. I got lost. We digress. The running, became a florist, blah, blah, blah. Kilimanjaro. I started to be a florist. Didn't know really much of anything, but I would wake up really early and drive downtown to the floral market. And it was scary, but exciting. And I would talk to all the vendors.
Were you doing orders like retail florist, or were you doing like events?
No, this was like my savings account. I had no income.
But what were you like? You're selling bouquets, events? What
I
were you doing
wasn't selling anything. I was like, I'm learning. I'm in the school of don't go broke, be able to pay your rent, and learn as much as you can. So I would buy things and bring them back to my place and play with them and study them. And I'm like one of those people like learns through experience. Like you can tell me not to do something and I'm probably still going to do it.
Right.
because I got to do it myself. Like, and no one cared. Literally, I started working and I put on Instagram and I was trying to like mimic like the big florists at the time and like, and it was like, and I actually don't even remember. Like, I didn't know who the big florists were. I just knew like, I'm like, oh, I could do this. And then I started playing with it and I'd like, take pictures and yeah, no one really cared. And then I said, well, no one cares. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want. So I opened up my craft closet. I opened up my closet of like painting and like everything that I had that I like had been collecting dust. Cause while I was in consulting, by the way, I had stopped painting. I had stopped drawing. Like that part of me had basically gone into dormancy or died. Like it was like in a coma, which is sad because it is such a huge part of who I am. And I'm so glad that I left and made that change at that time in my life. So I said, yeah, fuck it. Let's throw some paint on these. And it was originally because I bought, older flowers and they were bruised. And I was like, I gotta cover this up. Like they look bad in these photos. And then I started to learn about how paint and different ingredients like mix with flowers and which flowers and start playing. And then I started using like random things like artichokes. And then one day on Instagram, wait, I'm not kidding. I can't believe I'm going to tell you this, but I don't care. I was literally, I've been trying to do floral design for like a year and I was just not, it wasn't sticking. And I was just like, it was hard. I would go to hotels and I'd be like, hey, you want to use me? And they'd be like, we don't know you, but we've had the same vendor for like 15 years. And that's a contract that's like locked down. And you're like, okay, bye. Like I tried my best. I found my first wedding through a Craigslist ad. And anyway, so I basically had run out of like the savings that I had allocated for this journey of my life. And I was like, I have to go back to private equity. I have to go back to consulting. And I was interviewing. I didn't have healthcare. And that's just honest. I mean, a lot of small business owners, it's one of those ugly things that we don't like to talk about, like having healthcare. It's like kind of embarrassing. You're like, oh man, like I don't have healthcare. Like, but when you work in a big corporation, that stuff is a given. When you work on your own, it is not a given and it's very expensive. Right. And so anyway, I started interviewing. This job that I had like a line in, like a referral, interviewed, and I knew it was like not for me, but I was like, I need a job. And they were like, we love you, but you're too advanced. And I was like, I know, I just need a job. I'm not gonna try and cut. They're like, there's no upward mobility for you here. And I was like, I don't want to move up. I just want to pay my bills. Like, so anyway, it was like, they were like, basically you were shoo-in, and then came to that they were like, no. So it was like a Friday morning, I got the news and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I'm going to Taco Bell. I was crying. Like, I had big sunglasses on. I was like, I'm going to Taco Bell. And so I like drove to Taco Bell and I like ordered everything on the menu. And I mean, the total was probably like $20.
$10. Yeah.
Because that's Taco Bell. Not anymore, right? But like at the time. And I pull up and the man like hands me this like bucket of Dr. Pepper. And I was like, yes, I don't even hate on Dr. Pepper. I know there's people listening right now. That
I am a Dr. Pepper
It tastes like
lover.
dirty barbecue water.
No,
it does not. It's amazing.
It's my favorite.
Anyway, they hand me the barbecue water, and I hand them my credit card. The guy's like, it's declined. It was declined. And I was like, there's like a line of cars behind me, and I start sobbing. And he's like, well, you can have the Dr. Pepper.
That's the saddest Dr. Pepper ever. You just drinking that alone in the car, parked.
Tears. And I pulled over. I didn't even leave the Taco Bell parking lot. And I was like, what did I do with my life? Like, I am a fucking nightmare. Like, I fucked up my life. Like, I did the wrong thing. And then literally like 2 days later, Katy Perry found me on Instagram.
Fucking A.
And I was like, and I still have chills talking about it. And I was like, this
sounds
isn't
like
real.
a movie script, like a story. Yeah, it doesn't sound real.
I woke up in the middle of the night. You guys ever take naps? I'm talking a lot, I know, right? But like,
Don't worry, keep going.
I'm so excited. No one asked my story anymore because like I'm surrounded by people who like know my story. But like, you know, you guys ever take naps in the middle of the day and you wake up and like no one's around and you're like, what is going on? Like you feel kind of lost and you're like, where is everyone? Like there's no one outside. I took a nap in the middle of the day because I like didn't have anything to do and I was like unemployed. And I woke up and I was like, Katy Perry's following me. She DM'd me and she was like, I don't know who you are, but I love you and I want to work with you. And I was like, this is a fake account. And it wasn't a fake account. And literally like 6 hours later, I was on my way to Katy Perry's house. So like,
wow.
What was your reaction? Is it jumping up, screaming? Are you running around in circles in your apartment? What is the reaction when you get that, when you see the DMs?
Well, if you woke up, didn't you think, oh my God, I must be dreaming. This has got to be fake.
it was. And I was like, there's no way this is real. And no one was around.
Nobody can show this to somebody.
I couldn't be like, it's really happening. So it was like one of those weird moments and it was really happening. And she has, Katie has been just a true like light in my world, and like really just talk about like giving someone else a step up, like giving them a platform to show their work and support them for no reason other than that you believe in them is pretty fucking rad.
We got to see if we can get her to come back for Fresh Fest.
Bring her back.
She'll come.
Yeah.
Are we giving any gems? You got an? Did you guys?
That's
you
as
guys
far
got
as we're
a?
going.
Did we got a venue locked in? No.
We thought we did, but no, maybe not.
Oh, is it because a new spot came open?
No, it's because of when we were at Pedal on Friday or Tuesday. Lauren was like, "Oh, the place is a nightmare."
Not only her.
Yeah.
Not
Carlos had not said anything about it to us at any point.
He doesn't know about that stuff.
He knows about it. He's like, "Oh, it's good. Let's go for that one."
Yeah.
And now it's
you
like
need permits for
that's
everything.
because people are afraid of Carlos. They're not afraid of Lauren or Brittany or anybody else. They're afraid of Carlos, so they don't tell Carlos.
But yeah, we're working on that.
I like it. I like it. Fresh Fest is coming fast, guys. This is our last clip.
2 more.
You saved the best for last?
2 more clips.
2 more clips.
Continuing on with floral influencers and floral designers. Calma, Elizabeth from Calma was
Elizabeth Jaime or Elizabeth Jaime, depending on which country you're
correct. Yes, but
I'm bringing her to the farm.
When?
I saw her in the parking lot the other day. I really liked what she's doing, and she's very consistent. She's like my favorite thing on TikTok to watch.
She's really good.
No, she really does it. Yeah, she's really good.
Really good at it.
But it isn't like, I get the sense like it's more of a passion project than it is a business project for her. I think like she's like very creative and she's not afraid to show it. She's like constantly doing that stuff. And I don't think that she's experienced the real flower world outside of her world. And I think it would be really cool to bring her
and get her that knowledge, man.
Down to the farm, not just to have that knowledge, so she'll have a whole nother set of stuff to talk about.
Have you seen her when she comes into the cash and carry? She like dissects everything. She's in there and she doesn't miss a flower. She doesn't miss a bucket.
So she doesn't have like a list, like she has an eye.
Mm-hmm.
So she knows what she needs for her clients. This is one of the examples of the new kind of florist that is out there. This is a great example of it. That they don't have a flower shop. They have a studio, and they don't, they don't run it like a typical flower shop business. She runs it completely, I guess, through her contacts and through social media and her book sales and all this other stuff. Like she's like referred by, but there's lots and lots of them, and they're not the traditional.
Yeah, there's tons of florists like that for sure.
Yeah, there's more and more every day. And that's why when we move into our new space, we're going to have a space for those
We're going to have a studio.
Customers that don't have a shop or don't even have a studio, and they need a climate controlled room to work and do their
with all the right tools.
Yeah, to have water, to have all that things. And I mean, if they're nice enough to bring their business to us, we should be nice enough to support their business if they don't have enough space of their own when they get a big job to do. And that's why we're building that extra space for those people. But I would like to bring her and a couple others down to the farm, not just our farm, but our farm and other farms, so they can have a really good understanding of where all they talk about stems from, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. I like it. So let's jump in. That's episode 107, Flowering with Calma, from Manhattan to Miami with Elizabeth Jaime.
Jaime.
And I think you deserve it because you are celebrating something now, aren't you?
Yes, my book.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at a beautiful book by the author Elizabeth Jaime.
Jaime. Have you been referring to yourself as author recently?
Potato.
Did you put that on the bio?
I did recently put it on my bio.
Good.
Put what?
Author. It's real.
Author.
It's
I mean,
real.
and we have to not just say author. We need to say like creative, like director of this beautiful piece of art. So
I want to hear the whole process. Like, okay, I want to write a book, and then how did it go from there? Like,
and what gave you the idea?
Because that looks like a
to
real
write
book.
That's a
not.
book. No, it's a book. That's a book.
This
book.
isn't self-published, guys.
No.
Not
Yeah.
that there's anything wrong with self-published.
no,
But
still.
she's got a deal with a legit publisher, right?
Yeah, so I think the reason I wanted to do a book was because I do like workshops sometimes, and people love to do like learn about flowers, and I had been toying with doing maybe like a YouTube video series or something, but because my background is in print, like in magazines, I always have said like my favorite way to present information is through printed matter. So I had been working as a stylist on a book about rare plants. Her name's NSC Tropical. She's in Davie. She's like the best collector of the most rare. She's got like $20,000 plants in her nursery.
Wow.
And she was like, my agent is looking for other people to do plant books. And I was like, well, I don't know anything about plants, but I can do a flower book. And she put me in touch with her agent, and I pitched the idea of the book to the agent. And
What do you
like,
mean the agent? Like a sports
my
agent?
literary
Literary
agent. So,
agent.
yeah, so I have a literary
agent. Okay.
So
He wants to write a book, so he's literally taking mental
these
notes.
are
for
all
this.
notes he's taking
Yeah.
right now.
He wants to know the plan for real.
So I was like, I have this book. Here's kind of an idea. And she's like, I love it. She's like, here, sign on with me. I'm going to work with you to come up with the entire proposal that we're then going to take to, it's called to auction. So I worked with her for about.
What do you mean by that? When it goes to auction,
so that way
what is
people
that?
can bid on
So you have
publishing
publishing companies bidding
Yeah.
for the rights to publish the book.
So basically,
Oh, that's cool.
I came
cool
up
as
with
shit.
a proposal. It was like 16 pages long. It was the whole breakdown of what the book would be, and then it was her name's Michelle.
But how did you even know what the book's going to be? Like, you just had that vision because
Yep,
of
I had a
your
vision.
history and your talent and your
Yeah,
experience?
because I think like part of what we did at Bon Appetit was take like information and break it down. A lot of the times, like obviously we talk about restaurants and stuff, but we would do these things called primers, which was like taking a really hard concept like making soup dumplings and break it down for you.
Dumplings, so good.
Oh my gosh, I'm
So
hungry
it's got me
now.
hungry. Yeah, we missed lunch.
So I always think of information like in a very it's called like an editorial lens, I guess. So I came up with also my experience of having to teach myself how to do flowers.
Sure.
Like I knew, and also in talking to other florists and people who are learning, I knew what information like was hard to find out there. So yeah, my agent took the proposal to a bunch of publishers. I met with a few of them, and the way the auction happens is like if you're a publisher who is interested in what you learned, you have to submit your offer by like I think it was like January 2nd at 2 p.m. And then so I had three publishers submit offers. I met with all three of them, and I ended up going with Chronicle. Just because I loved my editor. I felt like she understood what I was trying to do.
So when they say offers, they mean like they pay you a certain amount of money, or they pay you per book? How do you get,
okay, so once
how do
I
you
signed on,
monetize
that was part of also choosing the publisher, because one offered me more money, but they didn't have as much reach or something like that. Like you had to consider all these different things. So I loved my editor at Chronicle, but they weren't offering me the most money for the advance. So we went back, and I was like, can you meet this other offer? And I would love to go with you. And they did. So yeah,
Nice.
the way that it works
Oh, cool.
is you get an advance to make the book, and you have to spend that. I was in charge of paying for the book to get done, the photo shoot and the writing.
Right.
So you have to invest out of your pocket
Well, with the advance.
with the advance money. Okay.
So and then how it works after that is I make a royalty off of every book sold.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you don't pay the advance, or it doesn't up until it covers your advance.
I use
no.
the whole thing. But also, no, you don't have to. I mean, I think in some, like when you're writing a novel, it depends on what section you're in. Like sometimes you do have to pay back the advance. But no.
Nice.
So the book is available
What a deal.
in print as well as digital version,
Yeah,
or
there's
only
a-
print?
There's a Kindle version.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of nice pictures in there. Just flipping the pages, I saw.
Specifically page number 22 and to page 199.
What
Where
are on
she's-
those
Can
pages?
I
she's
see that?
shopping at
I want to
Jeff
see
Fresh.
page 22.
Are your
Yeah.
hands clean?
Oh,
This is the
Jeff
only
Fresh
one
is in
copy?
there?
Yeah, but no, there's only one copy. You can see her
shizzles.
from a distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the book. Here, I'll show you the picture.
Who did you dedicate the book to?
My grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah, she passed away, but she passed away like
No crying, Mimi.
yeah,
Once per episode, she'll cry.
yeah. Oh no, now I'm gonna cry. I know I'm not gonna cry. She passed
What
away
a
like a
roller
year
coaster.
ago, and every time she had cancer. So every time I would go see her, she would ask me how the book was going, and she never got to see it.
Oh,
I'm sorry to hear that. But
It's okay. But here's the
beautiful
picture
dedication.
of Jeff Fresh.
How long is the process when you started? What year did you start that?
So I started the proposal, which we just talked about, in end of 2021. I signed the contract with my publisher February 2022, and I finished shooting the book kind of like mid last year, summer of last year, and I finished writing it like also summer of last year.
I feel like there's so many great, talented florists out there with all kinds of crazy experiences and styles and whatever that also could write books. I think that the people will want to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of
I
those.
was browsing that bookstore in that nice airport we were at yesterday.
Sure.
They had a really. I don't read books, but I was browsing the bookstore because it just looks so nice.
But you don't love coffee table books?
I have a coffee table book.
Just one?
just one. But you don't
I
sit
bought-
somewhere and pick up a book and look.
I
through
got
it?
him the collection, the history of Playboy in a coffee table book. But
Yeah, and you also got me the Led Zeppelin book.
yeah,
There's a
I'm
lot.
I love coffee table books. I love print.
Yeah,
I'm the same way.
We
Graphic
currently
design.
are without a coffee table.
Well, you're
but-
working your way. The lake house requires a specific kind of
Coffee table
You need
book.
like
It's a
lakes and like
specific
birds
style.
and car.
Yeah,
in cars.
Yeah. So I'm really excited
But
about
it's
it.
interesting.
Definitely.
I love your style.
Yeah, me too.
It's unique. It really is. Out of the box. I love it.
She
As a matter
probably
of fact,
doesn't
I'm gonna
know.
give you a call because my anniversary is coming up.
Okay.
Do you?
Fern, she probably doesn't know. Like when we see cool shit in the inventory, we yell at Jimmy and we'll say, "Hey, this is for Calma."
Yeah,
call
he
her.
does. He writes me. He WhatsApp me at like
No,
5
but the
in the
whole
morning.
room knows.
The whole room
Jimmy-
knows because we're yelling it out like this is for Calma. Call her.
Yeah.
Jimmy's a little upset because he wanted to be. He wants to be on the podcast.
Yeah,
He's like,
but
"Can I be
Fern-
in? It's my
Fern-
customer. Can I come on?"
Fern
He
has
could
him
jump in.
banned.
Jimmy is banded because he is releasing trade secrets. He's got caught.
What's the secret?
No, he was. I've been harassing
we're
him
just
since the
talking.
last one he was on.
Could pop on. Why not?
Which was Sarah Campbell, and he released where she was going to do an event.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, this is recorded and we edited it out,
Right.
but he released it, so I've been calling him the snitch since
Oh
then.
no, no one likes a snitch.
Nobody.
Ellie, this book is so beautiful. Not
It
just
really is.
not just
Who took the
about-
picture?
I'm looking at the pictures
Yeah.
from the other side.
So
here,
my
upside down. I love
photographer,
it.
her name's Emma Fishman. She was my photo assistant when I worked at Bon Appetit. She was like,
Is she
Love
New York
that.
based?
she's New York based. Yeah, we shot half the book. We shot most of the book in New York.
Oh, that's why you were going to New York.
Yeah.
I saw pictures of you on in the flower market. In New
Yes, I was there shooting the book. We did do a shoot here in Miami, but she's in New York, and I don't know.
How did you like going to the flower market versus the Miami market?
I mean, the New York market's amazing.
No, of course, everything's
I love
right
it.
there.
I know.
It's totally a vibe.
I
yeah.
love it. I actually had a dream about this is weird. Like 2 nights ago, I woke up and I realized I had a dream about the New York like flower market. You know, G Page.
Sure.
I had a dream they closed. I don't know why.
Oh, shit.
No, but that's I don't know.
That might be foreshadowing.
Maybe you can edit that out.
If that happens, like, yeah, I don't know.
But that's weird because I don't really like. If I do buy from New York, it's not from them. So I don't know why I dreamt.
Who's your go-to?
NYFG. It's Flower Group, right? New York Flower Group,
Yeah.
Which is the Dutch floral line, right?
That's Dutch floral line. That's a Rose by Harvest, and that's G Page.
Yeah.
All three of them.
So
there
I
might
don't
even be a fourth.
So what I was going to say is that this book is very educational, not just to like people who are like, let's say, floral enthusiasts or people that don't know anything, but about flowers. But this is also very informational, and like a lot of people can actually learn about the different types of flowers, not just the arrangement, but the actual flowers. So kudos to that, because I definitely need one.
Education.
I
Like
love.
what, Mimi? Give us
like
an example.
here she is. She's explaining about how to process poppies. And she's like,
Ooh.
and she,
How do you process poppies?
Yeah,
and
I do.
And she's saying here, and inside the book, she's talking about. I mean, she says poppies need more love. I mean, it's just cute ways that she's doing it. But also, she has like the actual flowers and their names. So this is a very educational book that's just not for the people who are into, like, let's say I want to make arrangements at home. This is for this is a great book for florists as well. Look at that.
So there's care and handling.
There's not just care and handling, but I'm just saying, like, she's giving a lot of educational tips, and she's talking about the pros and cons of the different vessels and arrangement styles that she does. So, I mean, this is really, really nice. Take it away from me because I have to find
Read
my
an
copy.
excerpt. What do they call it?
Excerpt.
Yeah.
Read one.
Man.
Let's hear it.
What?
Read something good.
Okay, I'm just gonna read the first thing I opened to.
Okay. Good.
So what we were just talking about, the flower glossary. One, I'm sure if you've ever shopped for flowers, like, it can be overwhelming. Like, you walk in and you see so many beautiful things and you just want everything, but you're not really thinking about how it might work in an arrangement. So the point of the flower glossary is to kind of look at a flower for what attribute it brings to an arrangement, rather than like, it's beautiful and I want it, which is a fun way to shop, but not always the smartest way to shop. So the flower glossary addresses that, and it says, I want you to change the way you look at plant material when shopping for flowers. If you're anything like me, you might walk into a flower shop and want to buy absolutely everything and anything that catches your eye. While that can be really fun, and I do encourage that from time to time, it can also be overwhelming, and you might end up buying more flowers than you actually need. I mean, and then I go on to explain, like...
It's like going to Walmart.
Yeah.
Buy shit you don't need.
Walmart, Target.
If you go every aisle, you're gonna get things you don't need.
There's
You have to go
something
specific aisles.
you thought you needed, or something you said, hey, you know what, this looks good. Why not buy it? It's a deal.
Yeah.
And I guess if you walk into one of those nice wholesale houses where they have everything on shelves pointing right at your eye, you're just going to grab colors and stuff that you love and figure it out later.
Shop with your heart.
And then you say, $700 and how much?
Let me review that.
Yeah. Yeah. So the first half of the book is kind of like informational stuff like that, like how to shop for flowers, what kind of vase to use and when to use it, how to process your flowers. And then the second half of the book is 20 arrangements, each with the image of what the arrangement looks like. And then on the next page, you have like a recipe. So what kind of flowers you need, how many you need, what kind of tools you need. And then it goes into a step-by-step guide of how I made each arrangement. And it's written out. And then also there's pictures of each step so that you could...
Beautiful.
If you want, replicate the arrangement. Although my hope is that people look at this and realize that you don't need to replicate the arrangement exactly, because it's going to be hard for everyone to do exactly what I did, especially with everyone having different access.
Flowers,
yeah. So you're supposed to be inspired by it and do your own version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a good episode to listen to if you want to write a book and you want to know a little bit more about publishing a book and the process
did give
behind that.
a lot of good info on that, on how that went.
We have a few books autographed by people.
Yeah, the library's growing.
The library's growing.
For sure.
In the new space, you have to have a library, like a real library. Like we have to have a bookshelf with all these books.
We need a bookshelf.
Yeah.
Where would that
Not
go?
just the shelf.
No,
Somewhere.
because I got a bunch of books to bring in that people can read. It'll help everyone.
Somewhere. But we have quite a few.
What kind of books?
We have probably
Like
5 or
self-help
6
books and motivational books, and whether you use it for sales or you use it for life. Those are books that are going to open your mind again. Every now and then you need, as Uncle Barry would say, you need a checkup from the neck up. And books will help give you that.
He's got a few books.
He's got a few books. He just put out his last one. This old dog can teach you some new tricks. I like it. go Uncle Barry.
We'll have a shelf just for Barry's books.
Yeah. Top shelf. Our last, but
Barry's a listener.
he listens. He likes it.
My dad loved it.
He owes me an email. I got to email
When I
Barry.
first moved to Florida, they had the USA Floral, whatever it was.
The conglomerate.
And Barry was running shit. And my dad was like, my friend Barry, I'm going to call him. And I'm going to take care of all this mess that these people made. Like he just always was talking about Barry. Yeah.
Got respect.
Yeah.
Gotta respect. Barry.
Respect, for sure.
Barry's got a world of knowledge. If you've never sat down with him, he's definitely somebody to talk to.
His podcast was really good too. When did we do his?
Yeah, we did. I think last year. That was before.
Definitely
100.
last year.
That was last year.
Yeah. But it was really good too.
It was a good one, yeah.
I still can't believe we got 3 years of podcasting, yo.
Joel and I can believe it.
I don't know if I can, though. I don't know if I can.
That's
Well, started as a passion project, man. It's just turned into a whole lot of education, let me tell you. All right, so last but not least, Frank Biddle of FBI Flowers. What an episode.
And trade winds.
Yes, sir.
Trade winds.
International.
So this episode had not a crazy long one, but it was a little longer than the other episodes because there was a lot going on. And also Frank just had some really good stories. You know, he was telling some really good stories.
The whole story, the near death, getting robbed, getting hit in the back. And
that's the clip we're about to play.
That's the
Christmas trees into Mexico.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Having to pay the people off to get into the border. I mean, God, that was crazy. It was insane. It's insane what the flower industry has been through, let me tell you. So that is episode 142, The Fearless Floral Pioneer, Frank Biddle of FBI Flowers. Let's get into it.
You mentioned the loss of the ID. And, as we all know, I think this is a universal bit of suffering. Anybody that has to go to the DMV to get an ID or to do anything, it's just the worst experience in the world, right? So I had to go and get my license replaced at the DMV, and not 3 or 4 or 5 months later, this is back still during the days when we were doing all the stock and stuff out of Baja, and we had this little warehouse right near the beach. It was right across from the 101, so it was, it would take me 5 minutes to walk over to the beach and be in the water surfing. But it was off this little dirt road, and it was kind of isolated back there. And I guess word had gotten out, amongst people that shouldn't have gotten out, that we did some business in cash, and therefore we probably had cash in the building. And one day I'm in the office, and I hear this guy walking in behind me, and I thought it was the Wilsie Bennett driver, a guy named Alex, this Nicaraguan guy named Alex. And Alex and I used to box a lot, and we'd always mess around, and I just wasn't going to give Alex the time of day, so I didn't turn around to acknowledge him. And then all of a sudden I kind of feel this clunk in the back of my head, and it was a pretty solid hit. And I was like, Alex, that's going a little too far, but maybe I'm going to keep ignoring him. And then I feel this sharp jab in my ribs, and I'm like, dude, what are you doing here? So again, not going to acknowledge Alex. And finally, after, probably a couple minutes later, I see a guy come around, and he grabs my phone line, kind of like, this part of it. And he takes a knife and he just cuts it right through. And I was like, all right, Alex, now you've gone too far. And so I spin around. I'm in my chair, in my office chair, and I spin around, and there's these two guys standing there. One's got a double-barreled 12 gauge sawed off about 14 inches long, and the other guy's got this knife. And they, you could tell from their accents that they were Nicaraguan. And this was around the time of the Contras and all the bad stuff that was going on down there. And I just kind of put my hands out. I'm like, well, here I am. I'm sitting in a chair, and you've got a double-barrel 12 gauge pointing at me. And what do you want? And they're like, where's the money? And there was some money but I didn't think that it was really going to make a difference in whether they shot me or not. So I just played dumb. I said, I don't know what you're talking about, the money. And they said, we hear you've got money. And I kind of held them off for a bit. And as we're talking, I get a fax. So they had gone around the office and they cut all the phone lines, every single one of them. But they cut the receiver lines. They didn't cut the actual lines that gave the phone, their power. And they did it to the fax machine as well. But as they're sitting there and we're talking, a fax comes in. And this was back in the days when the fax machines made a ton of noise. And it would go, bzz, 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 made all the weird noises. And these guys just freaked. They thought I had tripped an alarm. The guy, he clicks the safety off of his 12 gauge. He takes it from a resting position. He points it right at me. And he's like, you're holding out on us. Now I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, wow, this is it. This is the end, And I remember thinking vividly at the time that I was going to block my body and head and everything was going to block. I was up against a wall, was going to block the pellets, and it was going to leave a silhouette of my body. That's what I was thinking at the time. And I looked at him with this kind of blank look like, wow, this is it, so what's next? And I didn't, freak out. I didn't beg for my life. I didn't do anything. I just looked at him. And he kind of hesitated for a second. When he hesitated, I said, look, that machine that you're freaking out about, that's a fax machine. I said, and if you wait another 15 seconds, a piece of paper is going to come out of there. And the reason that this machine still works is because you cut the wrong line. You cut the receiver line. You didn't cut the phone line itself. And the reason I don't have any money here is because we make deposits of cash so that we don't have money around for people like you to come and steal from me. I'm sorry, but that's the reality. And the guy looks at his buddy and they're looking at each other like, wow, I guess we're kind of screwed on this deal. But it made perfect sense to them. And at that very moment, the cooler door opens up and this guy worked for us, Hector. He comes out of the cooler and he's checking inventory. So he's got this clipboard and he's kind of looking at his clipboard like, yeah. And this guy with a shotgun runs out, sticks the gun at him, and Hector looks at his clipboard and then he looks up and looks back down and he's like, oh shit, that guy's got a shotgun. And they hustled Hector back into the office with me. And as we're standing there, they take Hector's wallet and he's got like $80 on him. And I'm thinking, they're going to come for my wallet next. I don't have any money, but I just went to the DMV to get my license, and I'll be goddamn if I'm going back to DMV. And so I take my wallet out of my pocket and real subtly and toss it under my desk. And so now I don't have a wallet because I was not risking losing a wallet so that I'd have to make another trip to that DMV for these guys.
It's your life with a license.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, and then the guys they ran out. They took off and they got nothing but $80 and a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. And I went over to a buddy's house to go surfing afterwards. And as I was walking through his yard, I stepped on a nail that went through my foot, out the top, in the bottom, out the top. Ooh. And but then when we got to the water, the waves were perfect. The pelicans were surfing. There were porpoises. It was my day of trial was over. Life was good again.
You still went surfing after the nail.
He needed to go.
Oh,
surfing.
Oh yeah. Okay. Gotta go. Yeah. Had to do it.
Well,
no
probably
choice.
Helped make sure you didn't get infected.
Yeah. But that's
saltwater cures everything.
That's my lost ID story.
Wow.
Shit.
He really is fearless, though.
I've seen it firsthand. The man stood off a cliff, like on a rock that could have just easily unwedged itself and fell down. Like jumping out of helicopters to go skiing.
That's the craziest thing ever. Like he goes to spots that there's no lifts. They got to take you in a helicopter to get up there. That's ridiculous. I can barely get off the ski lift. Barbie almost died getting off the ski lift.
Those ski lifts are dangerous. If you don't know what you're doing, those things are sketchy.
So you know how like
I saw a TikTok of one that went crazy,
and it was like flipping, like when it turned, it would like
yeah,
throw you off of it.
Yeah. You seen it? People went flying in the air. And
so
then,
I was thinking, I was like, here we have the videos. Of
I think it was
the
in
boat
Russia,
ramp, right? Of people who can't handle a boat ramp. How many people lose? They count the cars that are lost at the boat ramps, right? People that their car just goes in or whatnot.
Tow trucks just hang around there.
They said that in the episode.
Yeah,
too.
I think because it's hilarious, and they
say that in
have
the
to
episode.
have videos like a nonstop TikTok of people getting off ski lifts and just falling.
For sure.
Too funny. Too funny. Guys, this has been an amazing year. 147, 48 episodes.
That's not this year. That's
Not
total.
this year, but that's total.
48 episodes this year?
I would say 51. I think maybe 1 week we might have missed.
Even though, too, I mean, that's
I think we've
pretty
all
impressive.
learned a lot of things.
Sure.
By talking to some of these folks, we've learned a lot of stuff, like things we never thought of, things we never would do or think of doing, or things we didn't realize.
Yeah.
I personally have a lot of takeaways from all the different people we spoke to.
A lot of gems that we pulled out, a lot of different things, a lot of history. And I'm a history buff, right? So I love hearing how things have changed, how the industry started, and, you know, everything that's changed.
Is there one like gem that stands out, or like that you really go back to more than the others? Like one thing specifically that stands out that you learned on the podcast?
So it's difficult to pinpoint one thing. I will tell you the one I've been thinking about.
There's always one more. Every time there's always something else.
There's always
I was just curious if one stood out more than the others.
The one that's been like slapping me in the face for the past 2 months, and I've been meaning to talk to you, is when we had the Black Girl Florist on, and
Sure,
she was Valerie was talking about how, you know, you got to
She's
take the
so
time
smart.
to educate the new customers, and how she would have dedicated time, and, you know, like an open house something, or just dedicated time to talk to people and show them how it works, how to do it, how to set things up, and how we need to do that for our customers.
Yeah.
Because we have so many customers that are new, are just jumping into the industry, and we're easy to find online, but they, you know, they don't know how things work. They don't know how it goes. And it's, if we take the time to teach them, God knows where those customers could go in the future.
Right.
So that right there, that episode, that moment has been like staring at me. And we got to take some action there.
That whole episode's also really good to
Yeah.
go back and listen to. I would suggest that one for sure. And you? Any moments that stand out?
There's too many. There really is too many.
Any resolutions for the new year?
No, I just want to keep trying to find like industry legends to be on, and industry up and comers to be on. I really like those kind of things. I think we should have like just flower salespeople without me and Fern on the podcast, whether they work at Jet Fresh or other companies, just to talk about the business and, you know, things like that. Different.
Why without you and Fern?
Because I think it's interesting conversation for people who won't have us in the room for them to worry about what to talk about.
Yeah, kind of like, you
Like
know.
a fill-in? Like a takeover? Yeah.
Like a takeover.
It's hit or miss because you get like, you know, you bring in Jimmy the Tulip or somebody else. They got big shoes to fill between you two. So depends. I guess it depends on the salesperson.
Okay.
But we can try that.
We can try it out.
Let's do it. There's tons of people with personality.
All right, fatties. Thank you so much for all the help, the questions, the suggestions, listening to all the episodes, all the support. We can't thank you enough. We're looking forward to an amazing 2025. As Mike said, we are working on some big names for this year. No sneak peeks, but get ready. Be ready because the episodes are coming strong and fast. We got another 52 episodes to get through next year. Hopefully 52, maybe 51, maybe 50. See if we try not to miss a week.
53.
From the bottom of our hearts, thank you so much. Continue to support. Continue sending your questions in to fatguys@jetfreshflowers.com. Send us some emails, send us questions, suggestions. We love everything. We appreciate you guys. Here's to a prosperous 2025. Here's to an amazing Valentine's Day to all our flower friends out there. Get ready. It's coming fast. Joelle, Ryan, Mike, Fern, thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great day.